My guest today spent over 15 years being the most trusted person in some of the world's most powerful households, and nobody actually knew her name. She was the person those people trusted with their children, their household, their routine, all the chaos that comes with everything. And she just sat there, she watched, she learned, and she said nothing, just quiet. Until 2022, when she decided to take everything that she knew and build her own business. Lynsay Kilbane is the founder of The Private Standard. It's a recruitment firm, and she places elite staff into the ultra high net worth individuals, which I absolutely love, into their households and to private offices across the Middle East and beyond. But this business is entirely on referrals. It's running a business that's really discreet, but it's growing really, really fast. So today we're going to get into what it actually looks like to take and build a business when your reputation is absolutely everything, but your clients can never really publicly name who you are. Whew. Wow. Okay. So Lynsay, you started working at 18 and you worked your way from regular families to the world's elite. It just sounds so fancy and I love it. What were you actually doing and learning in those years?
So much. So I always wanted to work with children, whether it would be a teacher, a social worker, and I landed in the nanny space.
Mm-hmm. You know, when you say that straight away, I think of Mary Poppins.
That's a compliment. I started, my first role was a summer holiday nanny, and I just absolutely loved it. And the impact that you can make in a child's life and a family's life from that one-on-one attention. Mm-hmm. From there, I worked my way up into all different kinds of families and households. You just learn so much.
Where did you start? Is this in England or?
Yes. So I'm from London originally. Started there, spent a lot of my career there, and then I moved over to the UAE, worked for a couple of families here, which again was a really amazing experience. You learned so much from different cultures, different households, different kinds of people that you're working with. Just amazing.
Is it something you always thought you would do? Like, so when you're finishing school, are you sitting there thinking, I'm going to go off and travel and be a nanny for a while and just kind of get some life experience?
I knew that I wanted to work with children. I knew that I wanted to travel. I've traveled to more than 40 countries at this point. And so I was looking for something that I could do both with. And this nannying just kind of fell into my lap.
You know, I did think about doing that myself one time. I think I must have been in the army because I left school and went straight to the army. And I remember thinking, oh, the nanny job looks cool. I could go to England, be a nanny, and then, you know, go and see the world too. Is it good pay? Do you get to travel much when you first start out?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the pay was always, quite high, especially for, somebody so young. But they are paying for your time, dedication. So it definitely doesn't come for free.
Okay. But it sounds fun and it sounds glamorous. Tell me about some of the people that you worked with and obviously I understand some of the skills that you need to do this sort of a job, but what about the type of people that you work with?
Mm-hmm. So I've worked with all different kinds of families.
Yeah.
Sometimes both parents are working, sometimes one parent is working, sometimes it's a single parent household. Some households, it's just me as the only staff member, and other households you could be part of a large team with a different kind of hierarchy. So it really varies. And again, you learn so much from your employers, what they do for work, how they've made their wealth, how they live. It's super interesting.
What was the shortest length of job that you had as a nanny?
That's a great question. I would say maybe I'd go to kind of trials. So sometimes you might interview with a family, or maybe you don't meet the family, you interview with their HR. You go to trial. Mm-hmm. That could be in the same country or a different country. You get there and just instantly this is not for me because of the energy in the house. You have to have the same values as the parents. And sometimes that is just not the case. So I would say there are some trials that I, very politely declined after a number of days.
You seem very polite. So I want to know what happens behind the closed doors though. So tell me some of the exciting things, or not so exciting, potentially scary things, or things that didn't align with you that happened behind the closed doors, because part of this job is being super discreet. Mm-hmm. And of course now you're looking for those sorts of candidates as well, but I want to hear your experience, of course, first.
So I would say when it comes to the staffing behind the scenes, it's quite complex, and you get all kinds of people working inside households or private offices with different agendas. And so sometimes you're working with unskilled colleagues. True. And, when you're working with children, it's really important that you're working with people that have an idea and some educational background around care of children and the development. So, sometimes I've seen people act in ways that they shouldn't, that's not appropriate. Sometimes you'll see nannies maybe going against the parents' wishes. So the parents have their own values. This is how I want you to raise my children. And you have to align, or you should leave.
Yes.
That's very important. So yeah, I've seen some of that. I've seen people flying private with families, and, they say, I'll catch you up. And then they're having a photo shoot on the private jet, which is just, for me, so inappropriate. I see people post online about inside households, about things they're doing, which is, again, just a security risk in terms of, I'm with this ultra high net worth person and I've just given you my location. So these things are really inappropriate, I think.
I want to jump straight into what's the best job you ever had?
My last nanny job. So for nannies, we're always searching for the unicorn family.
Okay, yeah.
They don't exist. I found them. So it was the end of my career. They were my last nanny family, and just incredible. They are my second family. I was there for 5.5 years. I'm still very close to them. And, we went through many things together, including COVID, and they're just incredible. The children I adore. And when I left that role, Mum said to the children, yes, she's leaving as your nanny, but now she's your auntie. And that really meant so much to me.
What do you think it is that made that relationship so strong and, made it work? Because, when you think any sort of staff member or employee or person that runs their own business as well is always looking for a unicorn employee or a unicorn company to work for. So what is it, do you think, that's so important that made that particular relationship work so well?
I think trust was definitely up there. The parents completely trusted me to run the show with the children. They were very busy. And so I was able to just hit the ground running and do that and cope. You have to be a really good communicator and you have to align with their communication style. So parents or, employers are hiring you to add value, to take things off their plate. So you need to be able to get on with it. And when the time is right, you communicate what they need to know and deal with the rest yourself.
All right. So you're trusted with the most private parts of people's lives. Okay. So what does that kind of trust feel like to carry?
It's a really big responsibility. If you're good in this industry, it should be heavy on your shoulders, I believe. It's checking your phone at all times because something might be happening and you might be needed. It's always being switched on. When I left my nanny career, I remember waking up and checking my phone and then reminding myself, no, you don't have to do that anymore. So that's a really big one.
Yeah, there's no downtime. It doesn't sound like it.
No. And you either love that and thrive on it or you don't.
Was there ever a moment it felt too much?
There have been moments with families.
There has to be.
That have been very full on, but I am the type of person that thrives in that environment. So I don't think so.
What's the biggest amount of household staff that you've had to work with before, and what's that sort of dynamic like?
I think me personally on the ground around 50. Yes.
Goodness gracious.
And it's really important. There's different cultures in that 50. There are different departments, different hierarchies. So, you have to understand that kind of element of humans.
So 15 years doing all this, traveling with the elite and glamorous and not so as well. Let's not forget about them. Did you always know you wanted to start your own business?
Yes.
Oh.
So, I've been starting businesses since I was about 8.
Oh, tell us about the first one.
I think the first one was a car wash. Then it was dog walking. Then I had my own magazine called Kids World, co-owned with my best friend.
Where did that go?
Nowhere. What else? So many businesses.
Who was your inspiration that led you to being a little junior entrepreneur?
Definitely my father.
Oh, cool. Tell us about that.
He left school at a very young age. The school did not align with his values or his personality.
Yep.
So he started a business. He still has that business to this day. It's now a family business with my brothers. And so he was really my inspiration, and I love the freedom of it. I love creating. I love the beginning of setting up a business when it's all shiny and you're getting the logo and the name and, I love that.
It's all the problem solving that kind of stimulates the brain, and
Yes.
you feel rewarded because you solve it
Exactly.
as well.
And I think up until I started my current business, I wasn't really passionate about any of the things that I'd done before. I was just doing it to make money, to work for myself. And then this kind of organically happened. This is something that is my passion, it's my niche, it's my experience, and then somebody asks you, where can I find a you? And then, it just organically went from there. And I really believe that is what you need to enjoy and be successful in your business.
How long were you here in the UAE before you started your business?
I think I was here about 5 years.
Okay.
I started my business while still employed as a nanny governess. It was very much just a kind of side hustle. I did not think I would go full time with the business.
And what did the business look like in the early days?
In the early days?
As a side hustle, because so many people are out there, they start a side business with the intent of hopefully, having freedom and control of their own life by running their own business, but they don't know when to take the leap and leave the job. But what did it look like for you at the beginning then as a side hustle?
So at the beginning, there was a lot of Post-it notes. I did everything myself, absolutely everything. A lot of late nights. I was very fortunate in that last role to have really nice working hours during term time. So I just got it done.
But what was the job, or what was the business the side hustle?
It was the Mama Consultancy. So I actually set that up. I wanted to help families in this region that do not have a professional nanny. I wanted to go in and troubleshoot and kind of be like the super nanny.
As in the TV show?
As in the TV show. But it just organically moved to recruitment. Somebody needs a nanny like me, and then, actually, can you help me with a butler? Or maybe I'm looking for a private chef. Just evolved like that. And then, up until recently, I had to rebrand because just completely outgrew the old business name, the Mama Consultancy. We were so much more. So yeah, that's how it started.
Well, that's also part of the evolution of work. And what sort of hours were you working on the business back then? And were you making money?
I was working all hours. So, something that I hear a lot, people that want to start a business, but I don't have time. There's so many excuses. I worked a full-time job, okay, which, I traveled every single 6 weeks. And when I was traveling, I worked 24/7. Like, that's just the norm. I'm on call also, whenever they need me. I have my own family, et cetera, et cetera. You just get it done. It's like in the mornings, it's late nights, different time zones. So yeah, you just made it work. It was profitable from the beginning because it's just me, right? And it's recruitment, so it's just me investing my time. So yeah, from the beginning it was great. I didn't do any marketing or anything like that. So it grew slowly, but each year we doubled. I doubled the revenue, and so yeah, it was great.
So tell me then, what was the moment that kind of led you to go, you've got the great family that you're working for that you absolutely adore, and you're like, now it's time for me to fly?
Yeah, well, it was very sadly a personal tragedy actually that led to that. I never thought that I would leave my old nanny family. I thought I'd stay there until I have my own family. I very sadly lost my brother he was 27, and everything changes in grief. Everything that used to matter doesn't anymore. And I remember sitting at a traffic light on Reem Island here in Abu Dhabi, and I was listening to a podcast, and the speaker said, imagine that when you die, you get to the gates of heaven and you meet the person that you could have been. If you had said yes, if you had not been afraid, if you had reached your full potential, how different would that person look to you now, and how would you feel? And I just remember thinking, that's it. That is it. So
what was the difference in person then? So based on where you were in that moment, obviously you're still as a nanny, but you've had the brother passing. Who is the girl that you're thinking about at the gates of heaven?
The girl at the gates was completely fearless. She had reached her full potential. My career, although I loved it, I was always in the background. You have to be very quiet. You're making things work behind the scenes, which, I loved. But I just knew that I would regret not, fulfilling my dreams, which is to be a business owner and have my own thing. And so that just looked too different to me. And I imagine meeting my brother and him just being like, I gave you these chances and, you didn't take them. And so I thought, let me just take them.
So what did you do?
So I asked to speak to my employer.
How long after?
Almost immediately.
Oh, wow. Good girl.
And I spoke to her, and it was very difficult. It was really difficult because there was nothing wrong with the job. I absolutely loved the family. They were so dear to me. But it was just time. She completely understood. And again, this is, a testament to our relationship. She understood. I had a very, very long notice period, which was great because it was kind of eased me out of the role. But yeah, that was it. I left. I booked a couple of really big things that are out of my comfort zone, like a very high level retreat in Kenya. I thought, let me just book all these things so I can't back out. And I said to myself, January 1st, that's it.
It's a new you.
It's a new me.
I love that. Yeah. So, and then you go to Kenya.
I went to Kenya. The night before Kenya, I had a huge freak out because they sent the details on who was going to be on the trip. And I remember saying to my now husband, I can't go. I can't go. I was having a real panic. And he said to me, okay, don't go.
But why couldn't you go? What was the feeling?
Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. I still struggle with it, but back then, it was a huge issue of mine, fear of failure, all of that.
Hang on, but you saying that you've seen other people, it's not really failure, the fear for this particular journey to Kenya. Is it more the fact that you don't feel you're as high level as them or have achieved as much as them? Is that what the fear is?
100%.
Yeah.
Then I had a very small business. I thought I knew a lot. I did not. And so it was like, who am I? I'm a nanny to be in a room with these high level people. And the big thing that we worked on during that retreat was, you're not a nanny anymore. And so I really had to work very hard to take that hat off.
Identity shift.
Yes. And I really do believe that retreat changed my life. The relationships, the inspiration, the advice from people that, were very successful, and I really respected them. And everybody was so gentle. I was healing a lot from my own grief during that time. And I felt Kenya is such an incredible, beautiful, peaceful state. It did so much for me as a person. And I left that retreat with, I thought I had this big vision, but actually I was looking like this. And I came out with this huge kind of goal and vision of the world that I just didn't know existed before.
Now tell me, what would you say to Lynsay or anyone else that's feeling the fear or that they're not good enough or they're facing imposter syndrome to go and do the thing?
I would say, if not you, then who, right? Why not you? Why not you? Take messy, imperfect action. That is hugely important. It holds so many people back of, it's not perfect, I can't do it. If I look back now at the things I was putting out at the beginning of my business, hilarious, really cringy. I just now archive them. You've got to start somewhere, and why not you?
Yeah. And now look at you.
Yeah.
How long was the retreat?
It was a week long.
Was it with the animals and everything as well?
We did a safari, yes.
And then lots of like workshop work as well, right?
Lots of workshop work, lots of time in nature. It was just beautiful.
Okay. So then that was the year of 2022. That's when everything changed for you.
Yes. Well, the retreat was 2023. By the time I had...
Okay. So when you finally said yes to yourself, what was the feeling?
I felt really empowered. I felt really empowered. I was excited rather than scared. It was just a complete shift. And I thought, why not? I used to really worry about, what would people think of me at home that I went to school with? And, people are going to think, who does she think she is? Well, actually, I'd rather them think that than me not try it, because what if I do succeed? And it's a journey. I still get bouts of this.
Of course. It's so common though, Lynsay, that feeling of, should I post that thing? What will my old friends think about? But then it comes back to, who are you and where do you want to go?
Exactly.
And what does it matter what they think? Because generally the ones you fear having a comment aren't even really a part of your life right now. It's the old version of you probably 20 years ago.
Yes.
It's just really funny how that we still hold on to that. And, you know, I think it's a work in progress for everyone. Even when we think we've gotten past it, someone pulls us back
They
in
really
there.
do. One comment and you're like, oh,
Damn it. All right. So you've left a world where you're a full-on expert. And now you're still an expert, I suppose, in this space because you've created the resources and the people, like you know where to turn and where to get people. But how do people find you if it's such a discreet business?
So most of my business is recommendations, referrals, which I'm so grateful for. I really am. That's how I've grown my business up until this point. This region is small. Everybody knows each other. And if you do a good job, you know, you are recommended, which comes with pros and cons. So that's how people find me on LinkedIn. Really, I used to be very scared of that platform, but now I post, and it's just about posting about my stories, my expertise, things that people are struggling with. I have great relationships with my candidates as well. So, you know, if they like me, we know each other, trust each other, they might take me to their next employer, and that's also how people find me.
Yeah, you're doing very well on LinkedIn. I see you everywhere at the moment. But you know, it's funny because a lot of people get scared of posting. And I know when you first start a business, it's all about building your personal brand and also promoting your own business. And you should, because you should really love what you do, right? You should be telling the whole world. But people find that they have that moment where they're like, I don't even know what to post.
Yeah. I mean, and I get that all the time. LinkedIn used to terrify me. Again, I thought I'm just a nanny. What have I got to say? And then you just get into a rhythm.
Yeah.
Now I have that fear with Instagram. So again, it doesn't go away.
But they can't name you publicly.
They can.
They can?
Yeah.
You're out there now.
Yeah.
The name's out there.
Yeah. I can't name them.
You can't name them. Yeah. It's very discreet. So then how do you say, you just say, I've worked with a client before and I've done this, this and this?
Yes.
And what about reviews?
So it's difficult in my space
Yeah.
because I'm working with, you know, really ultra high net worth people who are very discreet. There's a lot of privacy, you know, protocols. So sometimes I can get reviews on paper, but often not. Sometimes they'll send me a lovely message, you know, and I have that. Candidates leave lots of reviews, which is always really nice.
Was there a placement that you've ever put someone into that was a complete failure?
Let me think about how I'm going to answer this. I'm trying to put it in a way that's not going to make me look bad. Yes. I can think of a placement that we have done recently, actually, where the client really wanted a teacher who wanted to transition into a governess role. I don't recommend this kind of transition because it's very difficult, in my opinion, and experience for a teacher to transition into a household because there are no set hours. You know, you're paid to cover the time that the parents can't be there. You see parents going to the gym, you see parents living their life whilst you are working. That's what you're being paid for. You don't have colleagues most of the time. And so we placed a teacher who was leaving and put her into the role, and it didn't work out. I mean, there wasn't a big drama. They both, you know, she was very honest with the employer and said, look, this is not for me. You know, I need more of a personal work-life balance, which is fine. But, you know, it's something that I've seen happen before. And I do think experience in a private household is necessary because not everybody can do it. Not many people can do it.
Well, they've got to start somewhere though. So how do they do that?
$1 million question.
Unicorn.
I would say probably starting part-time, maybe do some weekend nannying with like a mid-tier family. I wouldn't aim for, you know, the top families in the beginning. It's just too much of a change. So
now there's two questions I've got for you then. You said everything's based on trust, right? So how do you in your business even vet these people and/or what sort of training do they do? Mm-hmm. Is there training for, you know, can I just be a nanny or a teacher?
So training for nannies, I mean, there is a very world famous, renowned nanny college in the UK called Norland Nanny College.
But do you need to have a qualification?
No.
Okay.
You don't.
I bet you do at the private standard.
Well, you know what? Not always. I think experience, energy, your passion, you know, are you Are you constantly learning? I think that can outweigh qualifications, to be honest. And also for each family, they're looking for a certain type of person, right? So if you've got a family who believe in gentle parenting, who travel, at the drop of a hat, you have to be ready. That's not going to suit somebody who went to Norland, for example, and is very rigid in structure, and that's just not going to work. So I do think a lot of it is personality, energy, experience.
Well, here's a question then. A lot of people can submit CVs these days, but they're using AI to generate them, right? So you'll put your advert out and they'll throw their CV in AI. Next minute, they've got the most perfect CV that you've just read and you're like, oh my gosh, they're perfect. How do you know they are who they say they are? Because I guess that matters if you're placing them, right?
It does. And with AI, it's scary, actually. Yeah. And I often get people email me their CV and they have gone into ChatGPT or Claude and asked to write the email and they've left in the prompts. That's an instant no. It's an instant, I just delete. You're not going to be worth my time.
Could you imagine? I think we've probably all been guilty of like, oh dear, that's a giveaway.
Or one of my pet peeves is when somebody just emails me a CV with no
cover letter.
But so the first case is, check the CV, then check the social medias to see what we can find. Then we would invite them to an interview with us, and then we check their references. So this is the basic level stuff we do. Yeah, but we also have a really incredible extra, which is intelligence screening. So we have partnered with this amazing due diligence company who can do background security checks from like the basic level up until, we can find out everything about somebody. And I really do encourage these checks because you're hiring somebody, whether they're a nanny for your children, a house manager managing your house, anybody, even the people that are driving you around. Do you know if they've got a criminal record? Do you know what they're posting on social media? Do you know if, do you know anything about these people? It's scary,
isn't it, when you think about it? Particularly if you're a high net worth individual or you have a specific job.
Yeah.
Like you need to know who's in your household.
It's terrifying.
Or who's looking after your child.
Yeah.
They have access to absolutely everything.
Absolutely everything.
Yeah, that's actually quite concerning. So do many companies do this sort of vetting that you do?
Not on this level.
Screening?
No. There's a basic background check. You speak to the references. But on this high level, no. People are not doing it. And my clients love it because it's the standard. I'm trying to set a standard in the private sector, right? Which is not there. I don't think it's there. And by having this due diligence, you know exactly who you're bringing in to your house.
We were speaking earlier and you mentioned how you're kind of expanding the business a little bit into a broader space. So tell me a little bit about where you're going with all of this.
So I feel in the market, I get the same problems from clients all of the time. Maybe I've had 10 nannies in the last 2 years. My staff don't have NDAs. I don't know why my staff are not staying. And it's always the same issues, right? I could tell them, before they even finish the sentence, I could tell them what's wrong, like why it's not working. And so what I want to do is go in at a deeper level and add so much more value. So going inside the households, doing an audit of the current team, what's working, what is not, what training is missing, and then basically prescribe the solutions for that household. It's a really bespoke offer, which I just think will add so much value.
I love that.
These houses are run or should be run because they're at such a high level, the same as a business. And it should be seen as the same, and the standards need to be raised.
Well, it kind of falls in line with the private standard, right?
Yes.
It's got its own, tier and class. I kind of find it exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing you take off with this little space. Okay. What I want to move into...
Oh.
Now, nothing to be scared about. I want to just go back a little bit into the rebranding that you did. So I remember when I first met you, you're like, oh, I want to rebrand. And, you had a lot going on. Like I felt you were in this space of you kind of knew where you were going, but you didn't know how to get there yet. And then we had maybe a month where I didn't see you, or 6 weeks. Next thing, you're like, oh my gosh, I've done all this rebranding. What made you rebrand? Because a lot of people start businesses, and I mean, I've even recommended previously to people as a mentor and said, you should rebrand because evolution. And there's something that's so fearful of that. So what gave you the courage to do that? Why did you change it?
There was a lot of emotional attachment to the first name of the business, the Mama Consultancy.
It's your baby, right?
It was my baby,
Yes.
you know? And so that was me. I was just very attached to it. And also you have to go to the next level, right? Rebranding is letting go of what you've built. You know, are people still going to like me? Will they still know the brand? Will I lose, you know, all of the value and my reputation that I've built? And actually it was a session that I had with you.
Oh.
It was a call I had with you, a business mentor call. And the way that you put it just took all of the emotion out of it. Like, you looked at it as in business. The name doesn't serve you anymore. It's not what you do. Stop overcomplicating it. Change the name. So I had that call with you. I had that call with another mentor. But at the same time, I was, you know, telling people quietly, I'm thinking of changing the name. And their reaction would be, oh no, you can't change the name. I love the name. It's so you. So it was conflicting. And then I thought, who out of these people, who is where I want to be and who is not? And so again, one day I just decided, and I couldn't think of what the name would be, right? And I went round and round. I landed on the private standard, and I thought, oh, really resonates with me, right? It's the private space, it's private sector. I want to raise the standard. I want everything to be up here instead of, you know, down here. I want to give people value, the clients and my candidates. And that was it. Again, I just thought, this doesn't serve me anymore. And I just kicked it to the side. And once I had decided, full steam ahead.
Very fast.
Very quickly.
Yeah. And then, so how do you introduce that? How do you close down one and then introduce a new brand without losing, you know, clientele?
Yeah. So I do everything very quickly. That is me. If I've got an idea, let's just go and do it.
Yeah.
We actually rebranded in the conflict. So during the conflict,
Yes.
it was a very strange time in the region. You know, people were falling off. And I thought, let me just rebrand and relaunch my whole business. Our sector didn't slow down. People still need private chefs. People still need dog nannies. People still, you know, people are still living. And so I thought, let me just do it. Just pulled the rug, did it. I messaged all of my clients individually and said, look, this is what I'm doing. And each one said, this is amazing. This is so you, this is what you're already doing. But, you know, so the reception was amazing. And now when I go into a room and I introduce my company and myself, I'm proud of my company name. Whereas before I started to feel really uncomfortable saying I'm the Mama Consultancy because it just didn't make sense.
But what made you decide on that in the first place, actually?
The
Mama Consultancy.
So because I wanted to
provide mums with support.
Yeah, be kind of like a parent consultant. So, you know, again, I've worked for so many families and all mums think they're having like a very unique individual problem. Seen it so many times. And when you're out of the bubble, you can see the patterns that are causing the behavior or the results that they're not happy with. So that's why I started the Mama Consultancy.
Is it expensive to have a full-time nanny?
My kind of nanny, yes.
So I always wonder, is it like a sustainable job or income, for the nanny?
Yes. I mean,
it has to be, because
absolutely, especially at the level that I'm placing nannies at. It's very rewarding in terms of salary and package, but it's also very demanding.
So I feel like you're setting the standard for the industry, which is pretty exciting. How do you feel with that responsibility?
I'm really excited about it. I really am. I see a lot of people try and come into this space, you know, and they just don't have the experience. I have been inside the households in this region. I've got a great network of candidates, ex-colleagues, and I just think I truly understand it, and I care. I really care. And you know, not all recruitment agencies have that.
Where are you going? Where is Lynsay going in the next 5 to 10 years? What's this big vision? And hey, here's a question. You know, when you came from Kenya, you said to me, oh gosh, I had this vision, which I thought was big, but it was quite narrow. And then I left Kenya and it was like, oh my gosh, so much bigger. What about now?
The Kenya vision.
That's so small.
Very small. I think, with each year and each book I read, each mentor I work with, the vision changes and grows. It's always evolving. I'm always, editing things. I think, my main goal is to really change the standard in the region, in this industry. We started with nannies. We now place any kind of staff for homes, yachts, jets, family offices, private offices, which I love. I love hiring for those kinds of roles. So that's where we're going. I'm the training element is coming in, the auditing, the intelligence screening. We're really going above. And it's not for everybody, and that's absolutely fine. But if you want the best for your life, your family, your lifestyle, then you should be able to find it
At the private standard.
at the private standard.
All right. You visited around 40 countries. Tell me, what's your favourite place? If you weren't living here, where would you live?
I would only live here. I love the UAE. I've been coming here back and forth for 15 years.
Yep.
When JBR was a beach with a camel on it. I love the people here. I love the energy here. It's incredible. So in terms of where would I live? If I had to move, it would be still somewhere in the GCC.
Okay, where's the best place you've gone then with a family on holidays?
Argentina.
Oh.
I thought about this the other day. Incredible. The most incredible trip. We stayed on a ranch. We got to ride horses every day. We were outside in nature. We had caves. It was absolutely amazing. And the food was obviously pretty good.
I assume the red wine was too. Just saying.
Not that I tried. I was on duty.
Yeah, that's true. What's the placement you're most proud of?
I think there was a placement recently. It was one of our first family office placements. So it's a new sector for me, but it's a client, clients come to me, they start with, can you find me a housekeeper? And then it evolves into, can you recruit for my whole life? And this client gave me this role, and I went through my own procedure, my normal procedure of recruiting, and they hired somebody. And the client said, I cannot tell you how many CVs, hundreds, that we have looked at, the people we have interviewed. And he said, the standard of your talent, the candidates you put through is above anybody else.
Ooh.
And that was a really proud moment for me because, again, moving into another sector, it's scary. Can I do it? Imposter syndrome. And it just made me proud and thought, yes, if you know your client, you have high standards and you're passionate, then, you can place any kind of role.
Working in a place where you are behind the scenes a lot, are you a private person because of this, do you think?
Very much so.
Have you always been?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm an introvert. So, building a business, working on my personal brand, which was a real, and I struggle with it all the time. It's difficult. Okay, because...
You mean being in the spotlight?
Being in the spotlight, being in the studio, and it's really alien to me. But you have to push yourself out of that comfort zone.
Got to get out there. Is there anything else about your business that you'd like to share today, or yourself?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay, well then, brace yourself because I always finish my episode off with a rapid fire 10 questions here.
Oof, okay.
Dog or cat person?
Dog.
See, these are nice and easy. Favorite handbag?
Oof, my first ever Louis Vuitton, which an amazing client bought me in one of my nanny jobs.
I'm starting to think I'm in the wrong job. You're kind of selling it to me. Okay, best holiday destination?
Fiji.
Oh, really? Interesting. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Good girl. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, that's a good one. I'm currently reading 10X by Benjamin Hardy, and I'm really enjoying it.
Audio book or you're reading?
Have to read it.
Okay. Does it take you longer? I mean...
Yes.
I listened to it recently when I drove up to RAC and back, but I always find that when I do that, I'm like, oh, where's my pen and my notepad? And I'm like, I've got to remember, I've got to go back to 43 minutes, 0.5 seconds,
Exactly,
and I never go back. So anyway, one household rule you'd implement in every household if you could.
NDA.
Ooh, very nice. Biggest life lesson to date or best advice given to you?
Biggest life lesson to date. You only live once.
Ooh, YOLO. One thing on your bucket list.
Oof, I'm very lucky to have ticked so many off. Cappadocia with my best friend, which is happening next month.
So you're doing it already?
I'm doing it. You've got to tick those off. YOLO.
Well, there's a challenge for you to write a new one. One role you'd never place, no matter how much someone paid.
If I didn't agree with the values or the way they treat their staff, it's not for me.
Actually, I want to add an extra question. Sorry. What's the most unique placement you've ever done for somebody from a job role?
I think beekeeper. Or animal trainer for a private zoo collection.
Oh, wowzers.
Yes. I love the animal roles.
Yeah, that's so cool. Wow. You are really finding some random people, aren't you? Like,
yes.
Some unique
jobs. Really unique.
The unstoppable 5%. Are you in it?
I hope so.
I'm going to say that again. The unstoppable 5%. Are you in it?
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Damn right. Lynsay, honestly, thank you. This has been a great conversation. I love what you're doing. And I remember the first time that I met you and you said, oh, I'm a nanny governess and I run a business. And then I'm like, I need to know more about this because this is fascinating. And, you know, obviously living in this country as well, I can see why your business is going to continue doing so well and how much more scope that you have. I really love the fact that you are setting a standard because, you know, security, safety, credibility for yourself, it's so, so, so important, particularly in today's world, the security of the people that you work with. Like, you never know the people that, you know, you're around. So I find that that's really important as well. But I love your energy and I love having you here today. And if anyone wants to find you, we're going to put all the information in the show notes, but I appreciate you coming today. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Laurie. It's a pleasure.
We'll see you in the next episode.